I'm going to make cornbread dressing today. I don't use stuffing in my turkey. I just like a good pan of cornbread dressing. I'm going to show you how I make it. This is how my mom has made it. Probably her mom and her grandmother has always made our dressing this way. It's always a hit. It's always the favorite. And Mom used to let me crumble up the cornbread when I was younger, when I was little, and that was a big deal to me, to be able to crumble up the cornbread for our cornbread dressing on Thanksgiving morning. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how I make cornbread dressing. Okay, so I made cornbread this morning, and you're just going to take a pan of cornbread, however much you want, and crumble it into a bowl. It's that easy. Just get in there with clean hands and crumble up this cornbread. You want it pretty fine so that you won't have lumps of dry cornbread. Some people use other breads in their dressing. My sister-in-law puts biscuits, crumbled up biscuits in her cornbread. Okay, we're going to chop one onion. And then we're going to saute it in some olive oil or butter until it is translucent. First, we're going to chop. I don't know if anybody's ever watched a Julia Child movie or actually not the movies, but her episodes of her old cooking shows. She was phenomenal. And the way she would chop an onion, I believe I would probably chop my fingers off. She would really, you should watch them sometimes. They are so good, and she's so funny. I will never be the chef she was. I don't claim to be a chef. I'm just a mom and a wife that enjoys cooking and creating. So I think filming as I cook is another way of creating. I'm feeling very fulfilled with that. Okay, so we have our onion pretty well chopped, and we're going to saute that in our olive oil. So we're going to add our onion to our skillet. It's not really hot yet, but it's getting there. Okay. Does anyone else have a favorite spatula? Egg turner, whatever you want to call it. This little one is my favorite out of all that I have. So anyway, you're going to cook your onion until it's translucent. You don't want to burn it, so let's turn it down. Nice and tender. That's one thing I don't like to put raw onion in my dressing. I like to go ahead and saute it and make it tender in the dressing. Okay, let's add it to our cornbread. Okay, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. And when we taste it, we can decide if we need more. All right, sage. Sage, you measure with your heart. Some people like a lot, some people like very little. I actually let my mom would always let my daddy taste and see if it had enough sage. So we're going to start with 2 teaspoons. We're going to mix it up before we put the egg in, and then we'll taste. All right, now I'm going to add about a cup of broth at a time. When it's a wet consistency, kind of like a batter, you know you have enough broth. So let's give this a good stir. I actually think it needs more broth. So that was 4 cups to 1 large pan of cornbread. And I actually may add a little bit more broth. We'll see. We're gonna give this a great stir. Get all the salt and sage mixed in. Then we're going to taste it. Once we've tasted it and like the amount of sage we have in, then we're going to add our beaten eggs after we have tasted to make sure we have enough sage. So let's get a spoon. Okay, we're going to give it a try. We're going to taste it. I need my dad here. A little bit more sage. So I'm going to add another teaspoon. So that makes 3 to this batch. And we're going to stir it up. Okay. And of course, we get a fresh, clean spoon because my mom would never double dip. That's perfect. Now, I'm going to add 2 beaten eggs. I've already went ahead and beat those up a little bit. And we're going to put those in. And stir that in. That's a binder. Your egg is going to help bind it together so you can slice it and take it out of your pan in little squares, if that's how you want. If you don't, you can just scoop it out. But anyways, you need the two beaten eggs. All right, I've already sprayed my baking dish. I'm just going to pour it over into it. Get all of that goodness out of there. And spread it out. All right, that's our cornbread dressing.
You're going to put it in the oven for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees. When you take it out, it should be firm to the touch. And let it cool before you slice it and dip it out of the pan. Top it off with gravy and eat it with your roasted turkey and mashed potatoes for a wonderful meal.